We're in the studio with Mark right now. Mark, great to have you here. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Good morning.
Thanks for
having me.
Thanks for getting up early. You know, I know we've been going back and forth. Now, you know, for you folks out there, if you do know who Mark is, if you don't, Mark is celebrated producer, DJ, artist himself, and you know, obviously he produced the Amy Winehouse record. He produced the new Kaiser Chiefs, and we're gonna have Kaiser Chiefs tickets in just a little while to give away. They're also doing an RXP session for us on Electric Lady for a small audience Friday afternoon.
Oh, cool. I've done a lot of recording there. It's actually around the corner from my house.
So you live right there, Mark?
Yeah, it's convenient.
Mark, tell everybody about your background. I mean, you know, you've obviously lived between England and New York. Tell me about you growing up and the first time you started getting into kind of DJing and producing.
Well, I grew up in England, and then my mom moved here when we were 8. So I kind of had this thing of growing up in New York, like having very hip-hop heavy, you know, background on that end, and then going back to England, visiting my dad and discovering, you know, Blur and the Stone Roses, Happy Mondays, all these like great Britpop bands and stuff. And then I guess I got into DJing in New York clubs and stuff and produced my first record, you know, when I was like 22, 23. It was Nico Costa's first record. And then by going back and forth between England and New York a lot to DJ or just, you know, to see family and just discovering great talent there and coming across people like Lily Allen, Amy, and stuff like that. So I guess that's kind of the most abbreviated, non-boring way I could talk about my upbringing.
Is there anything that you enjoy more? Because you can go out and have like a great night doing a DJ set and then producing great records. Pretty much you could do it all, but is there one that you enjoy more than the other creatively?
I think they're both amazing. There's something about DJing that's just like instant. You're there with the crowd. It's like playing live, a show, or whatever. And then when you're in the studio, you're making something that you hope is going to be around for a while and people will be listening to, you know, 50 years from now or something.
Yeah, I mean, you're a musician too, which I think is so cool. And I think that's why it lends itself to you being a producer. Now, one of the things I've talked about is how you would have been the only person that's ever been allowed to remix a Bob Dylan song. I mean, people are so precious about it. On the latest box set, Greatest All His Best Songs thing that came out about a year ago. And when I heard it, I thought it was great because I love Blonde on Blonde and I love the original of Most Likely You Go Your Way, I'll Go Mine. But when I heard your version, I love the fact that you added some instrumentation that felt very natural. And you used the guys from Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings who also played on Amy's album, Amy Winehouse, that you produced. Tell me about your relationship with them and how you got to know those guys and became a part of that whole circle.
Well, there's a lot of great record shops around New York where I go looking for samples and beats all the time. And I found all these 45s by this Dap Tone Records, and at first I thought they were just old, you know, reissues or something because their records sounded so genuinely like the real deal 60s funk 45s. So I kind of came across them when me and Amy were coming up with the demos for her album. I said, you know, instead of us trying to use every Pro Tools computer plugin to make it sound old, let's get this band, the Dap Kings, I heard, to play the stuff. So I called up Gabe, the bass player, and kind of just played in the demos, and we went to their studio in Brooklyn and recorded it, and I just love their sound. I love the way they play music. You know, growing up on hip-hop, I love those old soul records because that's what the RZA and Q-Tip and all these people that I love sample. And they made that music sound like that, and we went in the studio and cut that, and then we did the Dylan remix, and I didn't really want to, obviously it's such a daunting thing touching a Dylan record, and he had such an incredible band on that anyway. It was all those Nashville guys. And we just wanted to go and sort of make it sound maybe a bit more like Memphis or something.
Yeah, and it does have a Memphis horns vibe. Let's play it for everybody right now, and they've heard it before on this show, but we'll play it for you right now. It's Mark Ronson's reworking of Most Likely You Go Your Way and I'll Go Mine by Bob Dylan. 101.9 RXP, the remix of Bob Dylan's Most Likely You Go Your Way and I'll Go Mine. I always love that song too because lyrically, if you've been burned in a relationship, it's one of those really great biting Bob Dylan lyrics, kind of saying, hey, you know what, I'll be all right. Let's see who does better when we get out of this, looking down the line. Love the song. Did you have a choice? We're in the studio with Mark Ronson, by the way. Mark, did you have a choice on which song to do, or was that something that they actually brought to you? Did you look at a few different ones?
I did, yeah. I did have a choice, and I spent, there was about 3 months where I was sort of like, going exhaustively over the catalog and freaking out, being like, what if I pick the wrong song? I can't just pick Masters of War and put some strings on it, like. And I felt like that was the one, especially that album that has like kind of heavy on the rhythm section. I thought that we could do something with that.
Yeah, Blonde on Blonde, just such a classic from '66. Love that. And you know, so we're in the studio with Mark Ronson, and we'll explain. Mark is great. Mark is a recording artist. He's a Grammy and Brit-winning producer. He's an artist himself, a remixer, a DJ. Does a lot of different things, right, Leslie?
I was going to ask you, you know, how you select what you want to remix, because I'm sure right now you've got people coming out of the woodwork wanting to work with you. So It's kind of a method of how you pick and choose what you might want to work with or who you might want to work with?
Well, I think with my album version, it was very specifically a covers record. I was taking some of my favorite rock records and indie records from the past 20 years and I guess doing my own arrangement to them. But I guess after getting tarred with that brush for about 2 years of being like the song ruiner, I prefer just staying away from the covers. And you know, most of the time I remix something if I really, really love the record, but the covers and stuff is something I've kind of left behind, just back to producing records from scratch.
Yeah, it was a fun thing, but the album did unbelievably well for you, of course, and you got to work with a lot of your friends, and of course you already produced Amy Winehouse. She's on there, Lily Allen, and then Kaiser Chiefs. Of course, Lily did a Kaiser Chiefs song, and now you ended up producing their new album, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. It was just Lily.